crying child knocked on sleeper cab at 3 a.m. When trucker followed him, he called every driver he knew. The insistent tapping on the sleeper cab door at 3:07 a.m. was not the usual bump of a fellow driver, nor the rustle of a late-night traveler. It was a soft, rhythmic knock, almost hesitant, yet persistent enough to pull Marcus Iron Road Sullivan from a deep sleep. He blinked, disoriented, the dim glow of the dashboard lights casting long shadows across the cab of his Peterbilt 389, the Nomad. He'd pulled into a desolate rest stop off I-70 in eastern Colorado, the kind of place where the only company was the howling wind and the distant rumble of passing trains. Reaching for his worn baseball cap, Iron Road peered through the curtain. A small face, streaked with tears, stared back at him, framed by a shock of sandy hair. A child, no older than 7, shivering in a thin hoodie, his knuckles white against the cold metal. "Please, mister," the boy whispered, his voice cracking. "You gotta help. My sister. She's gone." The words hit Iron Road like a physical blow, instantly clearing the fog of sleep. He had driven 1.9 million miles, seen every kind of trouble the road could offer. But a crying child, alone in the dead of night, was a distress signal he could never ignore. Iron Road wasn't just a trucker. He was a silent guardian of the asphalt, a man whose past had forged an unbreakable code of honor. A former Army Ranger, he carried the weight of battles fought and comrades lost, a quiet strength that resonated with every mile he logged. After his service, the open road became his solace, a place where the endless horizon mirrored his own journey of healing. His Peterbilt, the Nomad, was more than a truck. It was a mobile sanctuary, a testament to its independence and his unwavering commitment to the unwritten rules of the highway. Years ago, he'd witnessed a similar situation, a family stranded and vulnerable, and the memory of his inability to fully help still gnawed at him. A young mother and her 2 children, broken down on a lonely stretch of highway, had been preyed upon by opportunistic criminals before official help could arrive. Iron Road had been too far away, his hands tied by regulations and distance, and the guilt had been a heavy burden ever since. That experience had solidified his reputation among the trucking community as the one to call when all other avenues failed, a man who lived by the creed that no one, especially a child, should ever face danger alone. His network of fellow drivers, a diverse tapestry of experience and grit, stretched across the continent, bound by a brotherhood stronger than blood, a chosen family forged in the crucible of shared roads and mutual reliance. He was uniquely positioned to help because he understood the shadows that lurked in the quiet corners of the world, and he possessed the skills, the connections, and the sheer will to confront them. The boy, who introduced himself as Finn, barely managed to articulate his story between sobs, his small body trembling from cold and fear. He and his older sister, Maya, 12 years old, had been traveling with their mother, a single parent named Elena, on a cross-country move to start a new life in California. Their beat-up minivan, packed with all their worldly possessions, had broken down hours ago, just a few miles back down the highway, near an abandoned gas station. Elena, desperate and with no cell service, had gone to find help, leaving the children in the van, promising to return quickly. But hours had passed, the night had grown cold, and then a dark sedan had pulled up to the minivan. Finn, hidden under a blanket, had watched in terror as a man, tall and menacing, had forced Maya out of the van and into his car. Elena was nowhere to be seen. Finn had waited, frozen with fear, until he saw the distant lights of the rest stop, gathering every ounce of courage to seek help. He described the man as having a distinctive scar above his left eye and a tattoo of a coiled snake on his neck. The local police, Finn explained, were miles away, and he'd heard his mom say they couldn't afford a tow truck, let alone a lawyer if something went wrong. The system, for a struggling single mother and her children, felt impossibly distant and unhelpful. Iron Road's heart ached with a familiar pain, the echo of Lily's unheard cries. He knew, with a chilling certainty, that this wasn't just a missing child. This was an abduction, and every second counted. Drop a comment and tell us what you would do in this situation. Would you trust a child's frantic story and risk everything, or wait for official channels? Iron Road's decision was instantaneous, a primal surge of protective instinct overriding all other concerns. He scooped up Finn, wrapping him in a spare blanket, and settled him gently in the passenger seat. "We're going to find her, son. I promise you that." Before we reveal how the trucker community rallied together, hit that subscribe button. These stories of real heroes need to be heard, and your support helps us share them, ensuring that the silent cries of the vulnerable never go unanswered. He flipped open his CB radio, the static crackling to life, and put out a call. Not for help, but for a full-scale mobilization, a code red that would ripple across the vast network of the road. Breaker 19, this is Iron Road. Got a code red, a child abduction, I-70 eastbound, near mile marker 312. 7-year-old boy, Finn, just reported his 12-year-old sister, Maya, taken from a broken-down minivan. Suspect is a male, tall, scar above left eye, snake tattoo on neck, driving a dark sedan. Mother, Elena, also missing. Anyone within a 100-mile radius. I need eyes on the road, every truck stop, every diner, every back road. This ain't just a delivery, folks. This is a rescue. I repeat, a rescue. The response was immediate, a chorus of familiar voices cutting through the night, each one a lifeline, a testament to the unbreakable bond of the road. Copy that, Iron Road. This is Whiskey Jack. Just past Denver, running a reefer. I'm turning around. What's the target, brother? Desert Rose here, running a flatbed out of Kansas City. Got my rig pointed your way. Iron Road, what's the good word? My rig's got room for a few more if needed. Preacher man on the horn. Just pulled into a truck stop near Lehman. Consider me mobilized. My sermons can wait. Justice can't. I'll start checking the local motels. I'm Big Mama here, running a tanker out of Grand Junction. I'm rolling. Got coffee and a first aid kit if anyone needs it. And a sharp eye for dark sedans. Ghost on the line, Iron Road. I'm pulling up traffic cam footage, running license plates. Give me any detail you got. The airwaves buzzed with a focused intensity, the collective power of hundreds of truckers, their eyes and ears now scanning the vast expanse of the highway. Iron Road, with Finn huddled beside him, pulled the Nomad back onto the highway, the powerful engine roaring to life, pushing the 80,000-pound rig towards the abandoned gas station, the diesel fumes a scent of purpose. He called Wheels, a retired trucker now running a small legal aid service for drivers and their families, a man whose sharp mind was as legendary as Iron Road's driving skills. Wheels, I need you to start digging into missing persons reports, any recent abductions, anything that fits a pattern. And I need you to prepare for a legal battle, because I have a feeling we're going to find this guy and he's not going to go quietly. Next, he contacted Ghost, the young, tech-savvy driver known for his ability to navigate the digital world with the same ease Iron Road navigated the highways. Ghost, I need you to find every public record, every social media post, every whisper about anyone matching that description. Cross-reference with known predators, anything. Dig deep, son. We need to know who we're up against. ... The plan was forming, a massive search operation, a legal strategy to legitimize their actions, and a digital footprint to expose the perpetrator. The miles melted away under the Nomad's massive tires, each revolution a promise to Finn, Maya, and Elena, a silent vow that this time the system wouldn't fail. They reached the abandoned gas station, a skeletal structure silhouetted against the pre-dawn sky. The minivan was there, its windows smashed, its contents ransacked. Elena was nowhere to be found. The scene was chilling, confirming Iron Road's worst fears. Finn pointed to a set of tire tracks, distinct in the soft dirt. That's his car, mister. He drove off that way. Iron Road radioed the information to the network, and the truckers began to converge, their powerful headlights cutting through the darkness, illuminating the desolate landscape. As dawn approached, painting the eastern sky in hues of bruised purple and fiery orange, the obstacles began to surface, confirming Iron Road's fears. Whiskey Jack reported a dark sedan matching the description, spotted at a truck stop 100 miles east, but the driver had vanished. Preacher Man found no sign of the suspect in local motels. The sheer vastness of the highway, the endless possibilities, threatened to swallow their hope. But then, a crucial piece of evidence emerged, a flicker of light in the darkness. Ghost, relentless in his digital archaeology, cross-referenced the suspect's description with known criminal databases and local police reports. He found a match. A man named Silas Snake Thorne, a known trafficker with a history of preying on vulnerable families, recently released from prison. His MO involved targeting broken-down vehicles on isolated stretches of highway. Ghost also found a recent social media post from Thorne bragging about a new acquisition and mentioning a remote, abandoned cabin he used as a hideout deep in the mountains, about 50 miles north of their current location. The post included a blurry photo of a child's backpack, unmistakably Maya's. The victim's courage, even years later, was a beacon, a ghost of a chance. Iron Road, Ghost transmitted, his voice crackling with excitement. "I think I found our snake." Silas Thorne. "He's got a cabin, old logging road, north of here. I'm sending coordinates now." The possibility, however slim, reignited their resolve. The convoy, now 12 strong, a formidable line of steel and determination, thundered down the final stretch of highway towards the mountains, the rising sun glinting off their chrome, a beacon of hope for Maya and Elena. The confrontation was not one of physical violence, but of overwhelming presence and undeniable truth, a moral siege. By 7:30 a.m., the convoy, an imposing line of chrome and steel, had navigated the treacherous, unpaved logging road, their powerful engines groaning in protest until they reached a clearing. There, nestled among the pines, was a dilapidated cabin, and parked haphazardly outside, the dark sedan. The roar of their idling engines, a low, persistent rumble, filled the morning air, a sound that vibrated through the very foundations of the isolated cabin. Iron Road, with wheels, a stoic figure in a worn leather vest, and Ghost, clutching a tablet by his side, approached the cabin. The trucker community stood behind them, a silent, unyielding wall of solidarity, their presence a stark contrast to the usual quiet of the wilderness. Silas Thorne, a man accustomed to operating in the shadows, emerged from the cabin, his face contorted in a mixture of surprise and rage, the snake tattoo on his neck visible. He held a knife, his eyes darting nervously at the towering trucks, the sheer, undeniable force of their presence. "What in the hell is this?" he snarled, his voice laced with menace. "This," Iron Road declared, his voice calm but resonant, cutting through Thorne's bluster, "is justice. You took a child, Thorne, and we don't leave until she's safe." We'll step forward, a stack of meticulously prepared legal documents in hand, a citizen's arrest warrant, and a temporary restraining order, carefully crafted to bypass Thorne's local influence. "Silas Thorne, you are under arrest for abduction and assault. We have evidence, and we have witnesses." Ghost, meanwhile, had discreetly started a live stream, his tablet pointed at the scene. The sight of the convoy and the unfolding drama quickly drawing national attention, thousands of viewers tuning in to witness the standoff. Thorne, seeing the cameras, the undeniable legal paperwork, and the sheer number of witnesses, his usual bluster gone, hesitated, his face paling. He knew his reign of terror was over. Inside, Maya, hearing the commotion, the rumble of the engines, and the determined voices, found a surge of courage she hadn't known she possessed. She appeared at the cabin door, her face bruised, but her eyes wide with hope, and behind her, a weak but alive Elena. "He hurt her!" Finn cried, his voice, though small, amplified by the sudden, profound silence that had fallen over the clearing. The public opinion, fueled by Ghost's livestream, shifted instantly, the facade of Silas Thorne cracking under the weight of truth and the unwavering gaze of the trucker community. Justice, though delayed, was not denied. With the livestream broadcasting Thorne's crimes for the world to see, and the overwhelming presence of the truckers, Thorne dropped his knife, his resistance crumbling. Sheriff Miller, alerted by Ghost's call and the sudden influx of concerned citizens, arrived moments later, his face grim. He had no choice but to act. Silas Thorne was arrested, his power and influence crumbling under the weight of his own cruelty and the collective will of ordinary people. Maya and Elena, finally safe, were reunited in a tearful embrace, the children clinging to their mother, both of them free from their tormentor, their faces etched with relief and a dawning hope. The minivan was towed, and the truckers, pooling their resources, ensured Elena and her children had a safe place to stay and the means to continue their journey. Iron Road, his promise fulfilled, watched from a distance, a quiet satisfaction settling in his heart. Later that day, as the Nomad rumbled back onto the highway, heading towards Memphis, the CB radio crackled with messages of gratitude and respect from across the country. The story of Finn, Maya, and Elena became a legend, a testament to the power of community, inspiring other victims to come forward and prompting a statewide review of missing persons cases, shining a light into the dark corners where justice often failed. The convoy, having completed its mission, dispersed, each rig heading back to its own route, carrying not just cargo, but the weight of a promise kept. Promises aren't just words on the highway of life. They're the fuel that keeps us moving forward, the invisible bonds that tie us together. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the voice on the CB radio at 3 a.m. saying, "I'm on my way, and the road is long, but no one should travel it alone."